Hey, good morning, listeners and viewers.
Good morning, Ammar.
Jalf, right? How are you doing?
Yes, good.
Uh, it's crazy, crazy is what it is. Yeah. Anyway, good morning. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Loud and clear.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? That whenever you and I talk, we can hear each other incredibly loud and clear. And Jamie, if you're listening in, can you hear me loud and clear? Yes, wonderful. That's great. Um, so yeah, let's get going then. You're listening to Ammar and Jalf.
Jalf.
Oh, sorry. You're listening to Ammar and
Jalf.
live on our weekly radio show right here on Spice FM.
Each week we'll try and bring some views, news, and one or two clues from the business world.
Asian business connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider community.
And we'll be talking shop quite literally, not just corner shops, whether you're looking to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business, we can help.
It's yeah, interesting is what it is. It's gosh, Jeff, really tired. Um, obviously we were at an event last night, the wonderful FB Fashion Ball thing.
Yeah,
How
amazing.
was it?
No, I think it was a really good event. Kudos to to the team that put it all together. Thought it was well set up and a really great cause, and hopefully they managed to get everything out of it that they wanted.
Yeah, I think so. It was, as you say, good. It's just nice to celebrate people and places, isn't it?
Mm.
It is. It's good from that sense. And then, yeah, it's very interesting is what it is. What's been going on in the world, Jeff?
Gosh, where do we start then? I haven't been too much in check with stuff at the political governmental level, but I understand that Sir Keir Starmer's gonna do a U-turn on the winter allowance, the fuel allowance stuff that he took away from the elderly. Is he giving that back? Um,
Uh,
I think,
well, the question of it, it's just, I mean, all things just a joke, isn't it? Is generally speaking.
yeah. So I mean, that's little something. That inflation is up 3.5%, but I think it's probably more like 8.5% really reality.
In action. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way that the costs have gone up, if you think about it, it's just that vicious cycle, isn't it? Once your labor costs go up by X amount, you're in a position where you have to try and balance the books. You begin to cut labor costs, but then you have to find ways of putting prices up. So I think that's automatically, there's going to be some inflationary pressures just from that. I'm sure there's lots of other things in the economy that's also happening. Um, so that's what's probably to be expected. But then that just makes it so difficult because it puts everyone's finances under a lot more strain and pressure from their shops to the fuel to A, B, C, and D. So I think um, again, that's probably inflation is just not a good thing to have for anybody, really, isn't it, Amal?
No, you're absolutely right. And the impact of it is just simply uh, people on the ground is who are impacted. You and I, the prices of everything going up. What does that inevitably do? Puts the prices of everything up. Um, so from that perspective, I and it also contradicts the government's announcements. I just feel as if generally, allegedly, and there's lots of politic parties out there, everyone's just doing a hokey cokey, saying one thing, doing this. You put your left leg in. Oh, inflation's coming down. You put your right leg out. Oh, inflation's going up. You do the hokey cokey. Oh, well, we're putting interest rates down. Oh, we're not putting them. It's just like, and that level of uncertainty is just causing such a pain for everyone, everything. It just almost makes you wonder, why are you doing business?
I mean, it's difficult, right? And Ammar, what's your understanding of what the deal that they did with the EU? Because some of those that were for Brexit, they're kind of very unhappy, saying that, well, that's like a back door into the EU again because you're partnering with the EU, and the whole thing with Brexit was for us to be more independent. But yeah, I think they've done some deals with the EU where foreigners from the Eastern European countries have the ability to come in to the country like they used to do. I don't know. I've not really looked into it. It's just I've heard a few commentators speaking about it. Is that true? Is there any truth in that, or do you know what deals were done with the EU more recently?
Well, here's the challenge. The devil's always in the detail, and there's real devil in the detail, isn't there? Some of the alleged deals that, or alleged considerations within the deal were things like, at this minute, if you're traveling abroad, you're stuck in separate queues.
Mhm.
As in, if you're going abroad to um, if you're going abroad to anywhere in the EU, you used to have a red passport. For a lot of us, we still have those red passports, and uh, it, you walked through, right? There was like, as in, it was EU zone.
Mm.
Felt something, a nice starry circle on a blue going round. And now I'm hearing of people missing flights
Mm.
because of passport delays within the EU.
Mhm.
And one of the considerations is around allowing both sides, because it's not just one way, right? Although we are a very small nation in a lot of sense out of the other 27 nations within Europe. Um, uh, a lot of Europeans want to come here as well, and they do come here. And we're very grateful for Europeans coming here and sort of spending money and doing holidays. And I imagine, and that's the other part, right? Without getting too distracted on and coming back to answering your question. Um, the headlines and highlights um, of the EU UK trade deal. Um, the Without getting distracted about the second part of that is um, we Great British have propped up so many European economies. Where would Spain be without the fry up, without the vests, without the string hats and handkerchiefs and the raves and the girls and the boys and the stags and the hens?
Mm.
Uh, anyway, so there's a real loyalist movement within Europe as well. Certainly in a lot of these places that have historically been hotspots. But in essence, so the key highlights of the 2025 EU-UK agreement are elimination of food export checks. So the agreement removes sanitary and phytosanitary checks on British food exports to the EU, facilitating smoother trade for products like meat and dairy. And this reduction in trade barriers is projected to boost the UK economy by 9 billion by 2040. Don't know about that. Energy, environmental collaboration, defence and security, fisheries. So this is where there's been quite a lot of controversy, Jalf, where fishing rights have been extended to. We've got some of the best fish in the world, right? Our seas, the North Sea, various seas around our Great Britain, provide some of the tastiest sea creatures in the world. And there's been quotas. Historically, there's always been quotas, European, Scandinavian trawlers coming across, being able to fish, but only a certain amount. And the allegations are that we've had to give, the UK has agreed to allow EU fishing fleets access to British waters until 2038. Move that has drawn criticism.
Why would we allow that?
Well, it's just because that's the type of thing we do that. And it's silly.
Yeah, but if it's silly, then why, if you think about it logically, if it's silly, then why do a deal on why do a silly deal? Because you and I, would we be able to get away with doing silly deals in our businesses?
Well, but we're not in that business of running countries. Maybe we should be.
Yeah,
Maybe we should vote for Jalf. He's not having a laugh. Maybe that's what your slogan needs to be. It sounds like everybody else is having a laugh.
Isn't it just logical though that obviously you come out and make a statement, we're back and we're world leader again, something on those lines. But if you're allowing the EU to come into our waters and take our fish, and then make a statement that, look, yeah, we're back in the world for, front of the world and I don't understand it. I mean, I think some of the things that I've heard with the EU over the last 15 to 20 years, it doesn't make, we're getting EU funding, so we're getting EU funding to put some bike lanes in, so they just rip up the streets because the money's there, and if you put the bike lane in, you get the free money or whatever. However, it's not free, but however way they've cut it, something that's totally unnecessary. And the EU funding is there, and we're doing a lot of things like that, which EU might be ticking the box for whatever reason. Oh yes, we've got bike lanes and cycle lanes in all the city centres around Europe, but if it's not being used and it's causing nuisance, it's not necessary. But just because the funding's there, you just ticking that box and taking the money to make our city centres a lot worse than what they are, which is I get a bit confused about some of these things that go on. I don't understand it all, because ultimately it should be for the betterment of the people, the public, and there's so many things that happen that they don't seem to be that way.
Yeah, and it is very interesting, all of these deals. Because look, I mean, Europe's representing 27 countries. We've got 3, 4. Just get my geography right. Or 1. Technically it's just 1, isn't it? We've only got 1 central government. Might have devolved parliaments in Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. But the central government's the central government. So yeah, it's why would you give anything away? Is my point. It's like because that's one of the most significant things, and by doing that, it it has the potential, allegedly, that um, our incredibly hard, stretched. Do you know how hard it is to be a fisherman or fish person? Are you not to say fisherman anymore?
Yeah, I
Is it
can't.
fisher?
I've not really met a fisherwoman before. So, have you?
Yeah.
What does she look like? Like a sea merchantly type of a lady.
Anyway, um,
Is that controversial? Is it?
that's a up
Like
9 p.m.
fisherwoman. That,
conversation.
honestly, my visualizing. If I'm visualizing a fisherwoman, it would be one of those like sea merchantly woman. You know, like that would pop up, like the pop up, like with gorgeous hair and all of that, and like
Like Ariel, like
like
what are you
movie.
like a what? Ariel, yeah. What are they called again? Mermaids, mermaid.
Mermaids, yeah, mermaids.
Yeah. So
That's my only and closest thing that I could kind of visualize a fisher woman.
I'd love to catch a mermaid. Oh, obviously I'm chat. Um, like I have to imagine the magical people, creatures. What would they be then? What would you call them? How would they fit into humanity?
Well, I think some
Like biologically speaking. Anyway, that's a different conversation. Which changing room would they go in?
oh well, they're definitely going to the ladies, man, because they're all women, aren't they? Really, you wouldn't. The perception of a mermaid is
the
not.
half, the half fish.
I've never seen a mermaid with a beard on that.
Well, I'm equally they're half fish. So it's like anyway, a very peculiar thing. But yeah, fishermen, they work, fisher persons, they work so hard.
Mm.
It is crazy. Getting up at like 3 o'clock, just in the sea,
Yeah,
out every day, trawling. And it's like
in that
solid work. It's like, well, farmers,
freezing
we
cold,
don't appreciate. We
freezing
don't
cold.
appreciate our food sources, our food security. I don't think we appreciate
Well,
anybody like that enough.
I don't think the government appreciates them as well because there's like a war on farmers, aren't there? Because the farmers are not very happy with the way that things are going at the moment. Like you said,
Well, the fishermen, like,
food security, they're the ones that should be any type of subsidies, any way to help those that produce food, they should get whatever allowances that we can give them because, as you said, having real good food is so vital to our security, but so vital to our health. And we've gone so far away from all of that, and instead you've just got a whole load of processed stuff manufactured, and they're just taking over, and that's not how it should go. As a strategy for our country, that's not the route that it should take. It should 100% invest in farmers, invest in fishermen, and give them the best opportunities to go out there, like you said, do all that endeavor, all that hard work. I don't think that the they need help and support to be able to make their businesses viable and make it easier for them because they are doing such a hard job.
Well, it's just, I mean, look, there's just a conspiracy with everyone, isn't there? Life. Um, um, and it's um, so hard. So if you think about the um, if you think about the fishermen, fisher persons, fishy people, whatever it is. If you think about them, the the they're having to work harder because we're giving away our fish to the EU, and they're attracting the fish, with bread. So all the fish go towards their trawlers, Have you seen that when you go abroad? You drop bread in the sea and
Wow,
all the
especially if it's like French bread, it's supposed to be the best bread that you can get. I'm sure the
fish.
French will love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, there'll be French fish, but they're not French fish. Why would they love French bread?
Well, it's probably tastier than the bread that we can give them.
I like it. There's nothing quite like a Warburton's. Remember Warburton's? Anyway, um, so there's less fish, or there's more competition. Sorry, there's more competition. Let's get this conversation done. There's more competition in the seas. There's higher fuel costs. There's higher insurance. There's higher maintenance. There's higher everything. You then catch your fish. You bring it to shore, and in the fish markets, and you've got those suppliers to the big supermarkets. What are the supermarkets doing? We want it cheaper. We want it cheaper. We
Mm,
want it cheaper. We want it cheaper. And they're holding them over a barrel. I mean, there was dairy farmers who were losing money on the milk, but
mm,
they had to take the money that they were getting paid.
yeah.
Otherwise, the cows and the whole supply chain would fail.
Mm. It's crazy. It is crazy, and I I really hope that there are solutions for the best interest of um the food security and the people that are involved in giving us that. They really need to find ways of helping and supporting them the best that they can.
Yeah, God bless our food security, our farmers, our fishermen and women and mermaids everywhere. What's going on in the world? Let's say this week's headlines. Let's say if the Northeast Mayor aims to sell £14 billion worth of investment. Yeah, I mean, politics, right? It's like, once again, there's a lot of talk, right?
What
There's
in
just a lot
Newcastle?
of no, there's lots of investment opportunities. So there was the big UK reef um, um, happening and down in Leeds, and it was a really big deal. Um, and there's lots of enterprise investment zones. Thank you. Um, and, yeah. Anyway, US tariffs drive invoice rejections to record highs as businesses scramble to preserve cash. This is an interesting story, isn't it?
So what is that, Mark? Can you explain that?
So yeah, US tariffs drive invoice rejections to record highs as businesses scramble to preserve cash. Global invoice rejections have reached record levels as businesses react to US President Donald Trump's sweeping new tariffs introduced in April 2025. According to data from Basware, 2.9 million invoices were rejected in Q1 2025, up from 900,000 a year earlier, raising the global rejection rate to 7%. The rise is tied directly to trade uncertainty, with companies using payment delays to preserve cash and reassess contracts. US dollar denominated invoices were hit hardest, with rejection rates soaring to 11%. Despite financial strain, overall transaction volumes rose 5%, with US imports jumping 41% as firms stockpiled goods ahead of the tariffs. Trump recently announced a new UK-US trade deal offering partial tariff exemptions for UK steel, aluminium, and cars. Still, the UK's effective tariff rate will rise to 6.1%, potentially costing UK exporters £2.3 billion, while US exporters may benefit by 700 million. As global businesses adapt, invoice rejection is emerging as a key strategy to manage financial uncertainty. People are just not paying their invoices, Jeff.
Right.
So imagine that.
If they're not paying the invoices, you're talking about international trade invoices. So then the deliveries aren't being made, or
No. So deliveries are being made. People are saying we're rejecting this invoice and delaying it and keeping a hold of the cash.
right? All right. Okay. I'm not
So
taking the goods. I'm not taking the goods.
they might have taken the goods because
Oh,
normally, so if you operate with some of the going back to the big suppliers, right? One of the big issues that um I'm advising businesses on. So through our international trade center, we're looking at terms and payment terms and how they operate. But if you let's say Amazon, for argument's sake, Amazon's payment terms are 120 days in certain circumstances. So you buy something, you supply it, you deliver it. Amazon say we're going to pay you. They don't pay you for 120 days,
mm,
4 months,
yeah.
and then at the end of that 4 months they go. And then I'm not saying they do, but let's just whichever Amazon or there's other whatever hypothetical places. At the end of that 4 month term, they go, oh, actually we're rejecting this invoice. So they conserve cash.
But so rejecting invoice means that you are effectively illegally refusing to pay that person, right?
Well, they'll go, well, the tariffs, but don't agree with that, or whatever it is, and then it takes weeks to deal with. That's the point.
Mm,
Um,
it's very difficult, very, very challenging. And that's gone up incredibly then, if it's gone up to 2.9.
oh gosh. So they'll go, there's a range of things. Basically, it's a tactic used in delaying payments,
Mm.
is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I always say that if you're doing business, you're going to have to pay anyway. So you might as well pay as you go. In that way, you know exactly where you stand.
Oh,
Whatever the end
well,
of the week, the month, end of the year, that's kind of a real profit or a real loss, as opposed to a smoke screen where you're just kind of trying to juggle, and not pay, steal from here and pay there. I mean, I'm sure everyone's been through that before in business, but I think if you can get yourself to a position where you pay as you go, that's it's the least stressful thing, and you know exactly where you are on a regular basis.
the only way to do things. So anyway, that's what businesses are doing, Jaff. And then the third one is 3.5 small businesses debt load doubles in the UK are facing a worsening debt crisis with the average debt levels now more than double what they were before the pandemic, according to Funding Exchange.
Mm. That makes
Many
sense.
businesses Many businesses are struggling to access new finance, not due to a lack of lending supply, but because they are now seen as too risky or financially weak. The key issue stems from pandemic era borrowing, when 1 in 3 UK firms took on government backed loans, a much higher rate in finance in France. Sorry, a much higher rate than in France or Germany. These debts have left many businesses with depleted cash reserves and high debt to turnover ratios, limiting their ability to secure further funding, especially for growth or working capital. It's so hard.
Yeah, and that actually is statistics that I can see, and we did say, Ammar, at the start of the year that things would be on a similar vein to where they are, and I can't see it getting better anytime soon.
Yeah. Um, I don't think they will. No. It's yeah, it's very challenging, is what it is. So it's anyway, you're listening to our
Yeah.
live on our radio show. Right, coming back to business topic of the week. Let's share this screen and showcase what is going on in the world. Jaff, and some top advice for everyone who is concerned uh, about business. Because we've always got the right advice at the right time for everyone. Uh, is what we have. And the business topic of the week is: can I use my home address for business in the UK? Jaff, can you?
Um, I'm sure. Well, I don't know the details, but I think everyone does a bit of work at home, right?
Yeah, but I suppose there's a difference between working from home
Mm,
and running a business from home, right?
yeah.
So um, there's a key differentiator there that we need to consider. Uh,
Uh,
but but
I get it, but why should when you think about it, why should that even be an issue if you want to do business from your home? There's so much regulation.
yeah, there sure. I mean, look, it's you're right. It depends what the business is, and it's not about there's. I mean, yes, in answer to your question, there is too much regulation there, and it's killing businesses, and there's more and more being added to that daily. But um, yes, you can use your business for or use your home address for business within the UK, but there are important risks to consider. So using your home address is legal for both sole traders and limited companies, but it can affect privacy, professionalism, and legal compliance. Your home address becomes public on platforms like Companies House, which may not be ideal. So the risks of using your home address, so privacy concerns, anyone can find your address online, unprofessional appearance, may harm your credibility with clients, legal and council restrictions. Some local authorities limit business activities from home, marketing limitations, harder to appear on Google, My Business, or improve SEO. So the better alternative to that, Jaff, is to continue doing what you want to do from home, but get a virtual office ready, steady trade package. So um, uh, where you have real challenges. So for example, if you're a professional or an admin and you're just using the computer and some paperwork, fair enough. But as soon as you start introducing goods into your property, or if you're a trades where you've got tools, you've got materials, you've got vans, right? There's a whole range of things you need to consider. Going back to your regulation, chap, if someone was making cakes in the house, make food packages and packets and all of that in the house and selling it, how would you guarantee the hygiene, food safety standards?
Oh, of course. But I think people do that though, Mark. They do. You've got these little micro businesses who are doing cakes, and doing them at home. I know there was a lady that was doing brownies at home, and I think in many ways you would have thought that the hygiene at home, because it's a kitchen that you use on a daily basis, you would it would be following all of the standards because you would have to have the knowledge.
No, but you don't have separate. Okay, but you don't have separate sinks. You don't have, whatever. I mean, this is your bag, right? You get the importance of quality and hygiene
Of course.
and contamination and
Yeah,
cross contamination.
but I'm on the same token. If we didn't remember, there was a brownie lady. There was the tastiest
I don't
brownie.
think you can say that. Oh, you mean she was making brownies?
Yeah, all the brownies were
All
done.
right.
All the brownies were done at home. Now, if it was the case where, let's say, the scenario where they weren't allowed to do it from home, then so many people just won't be able to launch or have a business because to get into a commercial kitchen, the cost of.
Ah, and actually, you have these things now, dark kitchens and
Yeah,
things
of
like
course you do, but it's just as soon as you go step out of your own home, the costs of going to an external space, it just um, it would be so expensive that you would have to put that on, add that onto the product, and again, that it's that vicious cycle, isn't it? I understand.
And sorry, just let me. I mean, let's just quickly, rapidly finish this part about part of the consideration. So you're right, and sort of cottage type or lifestyle type businesses. As an entrepreneur, I think people should be more entrepreneurial. But if you then moved into full scale manufacturing, or if all of a sudden you were storing lots of materials that has a risk of doing whatever, there's real concerns, and the top and bottom of it is, God forbid anything happened,
Yeah.
and from an insurance perspective, or council tax, or whatever it is, all of these things. Because if you're trading as a business, you then should, the council have an accept. If you rent a property, there's an issue. There's all of these concerns, and I'm not suggesting for 1 second that people who make brownies or whatever it is don't do a good job at home and shouldn't. But it's also, don't forget, it goes back to perception and regulation. And the point is, if you make a bad batch of brownies, well, that's a tongue twister. If you make a bad batch of brownies, people are going to come knocking on your door. So by having a professional virtual office, right, with mail handling, someone's looking after that. And there's a package for tradespeople in particular, which includes virtual office, registered address, business tools, accounting support. It's ideal for tradespeople, freelancers, startups, and SMEs. So immediately you start tackling some of that, and it doesn't cost much. It's like 70, 80 pence a day or whatever it is, Jeff, for that. It's like, why wouldn't you have it? Is the thing. But coming back to regulation and legislation, there's a whole range of reasons why you shouldn't be doing things.
I think after you get to a particular size, you have to be thinking about upscaling and going into somewhere where you can have a hot desk or have a small dark kitchen where you can go in and use it, book the time in on an irregular or regular basis. I think that would be the next step from working from home. And I guess you do tick all the boxes. I'm sure that organizations will have the insurance covered and all the bills covered and A, B, C, and D. So I think that's something, rather than going into your own premises, if you were able to take a hot desk somewhere, then that would be.
That's what happens here. Yeah. The amount of businesses that come to the SME Centre of Excellence in Ponty, and we've opened up View as well for certain types of businesses. If you want to grow and scale global, well, these are the businesses. These are the places. And there's other people there, and you can bounce things off them, and you get the right support at the right time, as I say. But you're right. I mean, don't take unnecessary risks with anything or anyone. Is key. So reach out, speak to Jamie at the SME Centre of Excellence. Coming back to the inclusion by default, the Fashion Ball was a high-profile event combining business networking with fashion, entertainment, and charitable impact. And it was wonderful that ABC won an award, Amit got up, and did a fashion show as well. So Amit was on the fashion show, is what he did. And ISSFU also won a fashion ball, a Business Heroes Award, which is brilliant. And I think it was really courageous for people to get up on that catwalk, wasn't it, Jim?
I think so. I think we were saying that it's not easy. It takes a lot of character to go up there. Not everyone can do it. So those that feel that yes, they can go on stage, then kudos to them.
Oh, no, no.
And there's some like Amit
It's
who are naturally born to do those things, aren't they?
yeah, no, there was some really, confident, courageous ones. Is what they were. But, come to, I'm hoping that next year it's only going to get bigger and better, isn't it?
I would have thought so. I think they've got off to a really good start. It's a very interesting concept. The idea of having, you know, everyday people from local businesses along with the big corporate organizations for them to be able to, individuals working on those environments to be able to go and do a catwalk. It's actually really, really interesting. Something that would challenge the teams, and I think a lot of people would enjoy doing that. So if they broaden that up and did it bigger next year, I'm sure they'll be able to get a lot more businesses involved with the support with ABC and others.
And ABC was, proud to partner as well to it, and it was just good to see such a selection of individuals, and Amit and Anthony and Kayla and various other individuals who probably, I don't know, I don't think so, have done a fashion show, came on, and they were all doing it for a charity, is what they were, which was interesting. So, from that perspective, it's, yeah, it makes you incredibly proud. And yesterday, so my full day, I'd got up and drove to the entrepreneurs conference yesterday morning at Hardwick Hall, which was brilliant. I was wondering if I could show the picture. So I got out of my comfort zone, Jalf. So the first speaker was a guy called Dominic. He set up Social Chain with Steve Bartlett.
Right.
You know Steve Bartlett, Social Chain, Dragon, like he was the young dragon, really young guy on Dragon's Den.
Right.
You want to, if I show you a picture of he's a British business.
What was his business, Ammar?
Social Chain is what they were. This thing. Let me show you a quick picture. Appreciate our listeners may not see this, but do you recognize this guy? Yeah. Recognize him? Joe?
And where is he?
Yeah.
This guy there. Not particularly. Okay.
Anyway, he co-founded Social Chain with and just look to reject the influencer. And it was a great story about this person and Dominic co-founded. He was studying at Edinburgh, and Steve Bartlett rang him up and said, "Oh, do you want to join forces? And they did. And they had social chain, and it became massive. And he had a really honest story um, about his problem with alcohol, and he gave up alcohol, and then they sold the business. And they both done it really, really well. But it was all just about honesty and having authentic type conversations. And then there was an exercise. Anyway, I had a point about me getting out of my comfort zone. So Alfie Joey is an artist. He does all of the events as well. He's a really nice, good guy. And he was doing an art class. So I went along to the art class, is what I done. And you had to draw a self-portrait. How good were you at art?
It wasn't too bad. I wasn't the best. I was always better. I was never the best at anything really. But yeah, there was I used to enjoy it. I think art is very fascinating. In later on in the years, Ammar, I understood the importance and value of art, especially when you're working with top designers, whether it be interior or graphic designers, because their artistry is just like, I love working with creative art. I really, really love it. And I just think their brains are just like, they can see things that you just cannot. And I always say to our teams that I've learned, my eyes have developed so much working with top artists, or art people, whether it be involved in so many different kind of sectors. Even from architecture, they need to have an understanding of art. I think I like the character of art people, because they're all kind of different, and they really think outside the box.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's I think it is a brilliant form of communication. Doing art properly, how you do it. Anyway, so I've been rubbish at it. I wasn't okay. I was just not good at it. I'm creative though, in my head. So I like drawing. I like standing up, and I'm not very good at it. Maybe I need to stop doing that, because that's a mindset thing. So anyway, we were drawing self-portraits, and he's like, pick out one thing and emphasize it. And he made his nose big, and he done a great picture. I made my teeth big. Anyway, it was just a really funny thing, and everyone just like laughed their heads off, and like made me laugh as well. And I just enjoyed the experience. He was like doing that in that room, and then we went from there. And there was like nearly 200 people in this conference, all like buzzing. That's the thing with entrepreneurs. Everyone's like buzzing on it. It's like if you get that many buzzing people in a room, it bounces off enthusiasm, sort of encouragement. You can do this. This is how you do it. And I was having conversations with people that I know really, really well. They're struggling. It's really hard because supply chain, whatever else. But their outlook remains, we're still here. We're just adjusting things. Some of the people have had to make redundancies or lay people off or whatever that was. And it was really, 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 really interesting is what it was. Anyway, that was brilliant. Went from there to Teesside, and some fantastic stuff happening there. Ended up spending too many hours there. Got back late to the fashion ball. So literally because I woke up at 4 o'clock yesterday morning to like midnight last night. It was just like non-stop, and then I got up at 3:40 this morning. Wow. So yeah, I am struggling. But it is what it is. I still got up and trained. My son comes down now, and he trains with me. And that affects me a little bit, negatively and positively. Negatively because I'm like really focused on my training, and then I get like, that's my space. I've done it for years now, where I do just change my workouts, move from kettlebells, weights, HIIT training in the main. I love the Apple TV training. They do like a 30-minute HIIT, then I do some core, and then I do 5 minutes meditation. And it feels as if like someone's intruding on my time. But I love the fact that my son is, we're doing something together, and he's interested, because it just, we're doing something together. So from that perspective, it's nice.
Why is that every day you're training?
5 days a week. 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. So I fall off a wagon food-wise on a Friday. So I have a fried egg, runny fried egg, white butt with ketchup, butty, really tasty before my show. And then I'll eat rubbish on Fridays and Saturdays and a little bit on Sundays. But then on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the main, I do a proper reset. So it was really unusual for me to eat that late and eat that food last night.
So what would you normally eat during a training week before training and stuff?
Oh no, I don't eat anything. I don't eat anything. No, I get up.
No eggs, no nothing.
No. I train. I train while I fast, so I'll get up and I'll train, and then after, the only thing I have in the morning are lots of different vitamins and minerals. So just in tablet form with a Barocca. There are other vitamin C drinks, but I get the Immuno one if you want to really know, because it's got like high dosage of vitamin D, 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. Now, biologically, medically, your body, vitamin C is the one that your body can absorb and gives you the benefits, but not all of the time. I do it because it's a placebo thing. Your body should be making its own vitamins and minerals, and you shouldn't have to subsidize them or supplement that. And then I fast. So this week I didn't actually eat anything. I had some broth drink for my lunch. It's got collagen in and everything else. It's organic. It's delicious. But it's got like lots of things. So I drank that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for my lunch, and then just had an evening meal as well. I did.
It's good, man.
And I felt like mentally and physically just felt, you just feel so good. Like I could get away with not eating an evening meal. I never feel hungry when I'm fasting. The only time I feel hungry is when I'm eating. And the worst thing about eating at home is I have this tendency to binge eat type stuff. It's like, oh, there's something there, I'll eat it. Oh, I'm feeling a bit bored, I'll eat that. It's like things like that. Whereas at work, I'm not really that fussed at all.
Good discipline, great discipline, and that's why you're looking very well. And anyone
I'm getting fat, definitely getting around the mid. I'm going to do the Great North Run. That's what I am. Fancy it?
Ah, man. I've quit from that one time that I did it.
Anyway, we'll be back next week. I'll be dialing in from abroad, I think, but we'll see. But until next week, and good luck to the Toon.
Yeah, big match on Sunday.
Okay, all the best. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.